Businesses of all types, sizes, and across sectors have a great opportunity to contribute to greater gender equality. And this isn't just a moral standpoint either. There is a strong business case for gender inclusion. Often, however, small and medium enterprises, or SMEs, feel that gender inclusion simply isn't relevant for them. Or, if they are interested, they don't know where to start. In this introduction, we'll walk you through some common questions and misconceptions about gender-inclusive business practices to get you thinking about applying this in your own business. But first, who are we and what do we do? At Valley for Women, our global team of advisors works with a variety of partners looking to increase gender inclusion across their businesses. This includes investors, enterprises, financial institutions, and many others. We have worked with over 300 businesses just like yours to support them with applying a gender lens and to support their growth. You might find yourself asking, is this even relevant for me? You might be wondering, I have mostly women on my team. Surely I am already gender inclusive. Or, this is all good and well for my personal life, but I'm running a business here. My business performance is my first priority. Or maybe you're thinking, I'm already working on saving the planet. Do you really expect me to tackle all sustainable development goals at once? Well, the answer is yes. In fact, this is relevant for you. Solutions driven by women, be it women-led startups or companies with diverse leadership teams, create better solutions, generate greater returns, and are more innovative. Solutions for women present a huge market opportunity in multiple sectors, like finance, healthcare, and technology. And if we see more solutions driven by and for women that close gender gaps, this is good for economic development. And finally, it is simply the right thing to do. And we're not just saying this either. We have the numbers and the research to back this up. For example, in East Asia, gender diverse firms have an internal rate of return that is 18% higher than the mean. And women in Southeast Asia make an impressive 80% of household purchases. We also know that when companies dedicate just 1/5 more of their spend on diverse supplier initiatives, they can attribute up to 15% of their increased annual sales to those programs. Finally, achieving gender equality in Asia Pacific by 2025 would contribute $4.5 trillion to regional GDP. And globally, funds investing with a gender lens have committed $4.3 billion in 2019. And this is a number that is growing each year. These are some of the investors that have collectively committed billions of dollars to gender lens investing, ranging from large development banks through to individual investors. Okay, I can hear you thinking, that sounds interesting. But are you saying that I should exclude or discriminate against men? Well, no, that's not what we're suggesting. Gender-forward businesses aim to create equal opportunities to gain equal outcomes, leveling the playing field, so to speak. Consider this example. A sports match is being played, and spectators need to look over a fence to see the game. A group of 3 friends want to watch the game, but some of them are a bit shorter and struggle to see over the fence. Providing equal access to the sports game might mean giving each person a box of the same size to stand on. But the tallest person doesn't need a box, and the smallest person is still unable to see over the fence. So an equitable outcome would be to give the smallest person 2 boxes. Now everybody can see. You could take this a step further by completely removing barriers, in this case by replacing the fence with a see-through option. In life, due to limited opportunities, bias, and other discriminating factors, women tend to run a few boxes behind on men. Gender-forward businesses aim to understand which boxes women might be missing and to provide everybody with the boxes they need for equitable outcomes in life. I hope I've got your attention now. So, next question. What, in fact, is a gender-forward business? A gender-forward business intentionally seeks to rectify gender inequalities by providing products and services that close gender gaps or meet the needs of women or girls, supports gender diversity through internal policies and practices in the workforce, and strengthens inclusion and diversity across the value chain. If this sounds like a huge undertaking, don't panic. Working towards equitable outcomes for women and men isn't just something for large corporates with CSR budgets. Businesses of all types and sizes can adopt gender-forward practices to benefit from the business and social impacts of gender equality. In fact, each company can target these aims in ways that are aligned with their current business practices and priorities. For enterprises like yourself, there are 3 common entry points into becoming more gender forward: your workforce, your market, and your value chain. And ultimately, each of these 3 entry points might affect your bottom line. Of course, results are highly context specific, but in general, you might expect some of the following benefits in each. In your workforce, gender diversity can lead to diverse perspectives, more creative problem solving, and efficiencies overall in your business. It might also contribute to a greater understanding of different clients' perspectives, which can increase customer satisfaction. Businesses can also maximize sales opportunities in a new market by ensuring that all customer needs, those of both women and men, are clearly understood, recognized, and incorporated into business operations. And finally, diversity in supply chains can reduce the risks of supply chain disruption and potentially improve the quality of your inputs. Moreover, women prove to be effective sales agents, and this is particularly true when women are the primary users that you are targeting. Great, now that we've walked through the background and the benefits, how to get started? While there is no one-size-fits-all approach, there are some basic principles for applying gender-forward business practices in your company. Firstly, commit. Clearly decide what your priorities are, set targets, and ensure buy-in from leadership. Secondly, assess. A very important starting point for any gender-forward endeavor is to use your sex disaggregated data as a starting point. This means that you look at data on your employees, consumers, and the value chain, but that you explicitly split out data on women and men to identify any important differences that you want to tackle. And if you don't yet have this data available, putting in place measures to collect it should be your very first starting point. This will also benefit you when engaging with potential investors, so it's definitely a step not to be skipped. Thirdly, solve. Using the insights from your data, your existing business priorities and activities as a starting point, consider how you might apply a gender lens to the most important ones. Gender-forward business practices should not be a tick box exercise that is separate to your main business priorities, but rather integrated. Finally, measure. Like with any of your business performance indicators, make sure that you continuously measure your outcomes on the gender inclusion front, so that you can course correct and also to communicate your success. Of course, this was only an introduction, and there is much more that we can say on this topic. For now, please have a look at the other resources that we have provided. We have checklists and tools available for you to start assessing your business and to apply a gender lens to your most important activities. In short, welcome aboard. We're excited to have you on this journey with us.